Hampshire Parish School Board meeting. We'll begin with roll call by the superintendent. I'll do the board prayer. Mr. Meyer will lead us into the pledge. Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Lewis,
Here.
Mr. Meyer, Mrs. Barra, Ms. Fletcher Mickens, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Washington, Mr. Crawford, Mrs. Uso, Mrs. Dugas. Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. The agenda will be followed as presented. Oh, precious Lord, we thank you for this peaceful assembly to do the work for which we were called to do. We thank you, dear Lord, for all your blessings and your continued blessing upon our school system. Give us the wisdom, the understanding to make decisions that will positively impact our students and our employees. Oh, precious Father, we humbly ask that you continue to shield us with your loving armor protection from the wrath of this virus and any hurricanes. These and many blessings, dear Lord, we ask in your holy name, we pray. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Uso, second by Ms. Dot. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Next, need a motion to adopt the consent agenda. Motion by Mr. Robinson, second by Mr. Washington. Questions or comments? Hearing none. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next, under reports and recognition, receive administrative personnel report. Each of us have a copy of that report in front of, view it at your leisure. Next, receive update on anti-bullying week.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Margaret, come on up. Throughout our strategic planning process, we were able to receive a lot of feedback from our community. And one thing that our community said that they wanted to see more action on is bullying. So this week is Anti-Bullying Week. Assumption Parish School District identified this week as Anti-Bullying Week. So we do have some activities going on throughout the district, but we know that no matter what, we need to fight bullying every day. This is not a 1 week thing and not a 1 day thing. We definitely need to make sure that we encourage our young men and our young women to be very, very active and very positive when they interact with each other. At this time, I'm gonna let Ms. Margaret introduce to you all what we've been doing and what we have coming up for our Anti-Bullying Week. Ms. Margaret.
Margaret, how you doing?
So on our website, we shared with everyone, all of the schools, we had different activities We had different activities that the students were and the faculty alike were allowed to dress up this week so that we can promote our anti-bullying week. So every day there's a theme. And we've had some great participation with that. As a district, we also put out an essay writing contest to promote literacy across all the schools. And those essays are being turned in as we speak. And on Friday, we're gonna have a special visitor. One of our deputy dogs is gonna dress up. And we have some cute little prizes for our essay winners from every school, and it's filled with different things to promote anti-bullying as well. So those are some of the activities we have this week, and I'm looking forward to getting those essays back so we can read them and choose our winners.
Okay. Thank
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Next, receive information on Assumption Parish Aspiring Leaders Program, APLP. Thought you was gonna get away, huh?
Thank you, Mr. President. You come on up, Mark. So what we're doing early on, I'm going to say maybe probably around the summertime, we talk about how we're going to develop our own, how we're going to grow our own teachers, how we're going to grow our own leaders. So this is Assumption Parish Aspiring Leaders Program that we're going to introduce starting in January. So we're going to identify some key leaders, some strong leaders in our schools, and we're going to run them through a program so we can actually have better outcomes. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Margaret. She's going to talk a little bit about the program that we're going to introduce. Ms. Margaret?
Sure. Hello again, everyone. I didn't realize I was going to be up next. At your seats in a manila folder, you have a copy of our Aspiring Leaders Framework for your leisurely reading. But just to go over a few points, first of all, we're extremely excited to have this program actually kick off in January. We've kind of hit the ground running to get everything together to be able to identify those leaders in the district that are ready to move to the next level and be able to support them and give them the tools that they need to be successful. You hit it for me? So of course, under your leadership, under the great leadership of Mr. Bartholomew and our core team, we have put together a great comprehensive packet that I'm going to share with you here today. So of course, you know, our mission is to make sure that we're inspiring lifelong learners and preparing our students for their future to be able to cultivate an environment conducive to learning for all. So this fits right along in with our mission and also right along in with the things that we have going with our strategic plan. So some of our strategic focus for our aspiring leaders are to make sure that we're working with them to shape a vision of academic success for all students, create a climate hospitable to the educational environment, cultivate leadership in others, not only be an effective leader, but to be able to cultivate leadership in others, to improve instruction, which is our #1 main focus. How do we do that? And then the day-to-day managing people, managing data, and managing processes to be able to foster school improvement. So our professional development plan you see laid out in that framework encompasses several things. There is a Louisiana Professional Standards for educators or educational leaders that is pretty much national standards, but Louisiana has also adopted those standards, and they can be found on the Louisiana Department of Education website. I also have a link here if you'd like me to share it with you. So it's falling under the umbrella of those leadership standards, which back in the day when I went through, it used to be called ISLIC. It's no longer called that anymore. Also intertwining it and aligning it with our strategic plan. You see those numbers in the parentheses. Those are our strategic priorities. So these are the things that I talked about earlier about what we're going to be training those leaders on and how it aligns with those educational leader standards and how it intertwines with our strategic priorities. So as you go through that packet, you'll be able to see how we've laid that professional development plan out. And every single department here in our core will have a part in having some type of in-service or hands-on activities or out in the field experience that these candidates will go through. The application process is really, really simple. The actual packet that you have in your hand is the same packet that everyone who is interested in applying will have. For many reasons, we want them to see the rigor of the program. We also want them to see how they will be scored utilizing the rubrics of their writing, their essays, their reference letters, and also the different components of the application itself, where they have to have a master's degree, a certain GPA, et cetera, et cetera. So the application requirements, as you see here, master's degree, educational leadership preferred, but we will look at everyone. We would like to have a GPA of 3.0 or higher in their graduate courses, 3 years of documented successful teaching right here in Assumption Parish. Also 1 to 3 years of experience as a teacher leader or on the leadership team, which we have many opportunities for. Of course, the written personal essay on leadership, their philosophy on leadership, and then their reference letters. Once they're chosen, there is a signed expectation form, which is also enclosed in the packet that you have. The application will be released November 29th. That's the day we come back after Thanksgiving. And they will have approximately 2 weeks to have that application turned back in here at the central office. They are due on December the 10th, which will give CORE leadership time to be able to decipher through, read those essays, score them appropriately, and have those conversations to be able to choose our first aspiring leaders cohort, which will ultimately start in January 2022. On the back, the very last page, very last slide, this is what I was talking about earlier about how we're going to move through that professional growth area. And so every month, we're going to have a topic that leaders from here, some effective principals, will be presenting to our participants in the cohort. Any questions?
Yeah, wait, I might have a question. Are we going to have plenty of these? I mean, like one at every school? How does it work?
You have to have a master's degree.
No, I understand, but is the goal to get one at every school?
No, right now we're looking for 5 candidates, the top scoring 5 candidates.
Oh, okay, and basically, their job is to help teach it.
No, we are actually training them how to be principals, how to be the next principals and assistant principals in the district.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
And listen, one more question.
sure.
I got to go back to the bullying.
Okay.
Is that a bad problem in our schools? I've been out of school for 25 years.
It varies from school to school. We have some behavior issues right now that we are supporting our schools with. It just depends on the school. But as far as reporting of bullying, we don't have a high incident as it relates to other school districts.
Yeah, not to make light of it, I don't know what's more frightening, that bullying takes place, or we actually have a name for a week to combat it, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
That's why we're trying to be proactive and get the word out and make sure that everybody knows that it's safe to report it.
Yeah.
Because we need to know so that we can fix
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Students of the year have to write an essay, and mostly every year at every school, one child wrote about bullying in their school.
Yes.
There was a lot of bullying. I don't know if it's over with now as much as going on, but I do know that we did have that one time.
Yeah, I don't think it's over, but, we're trying our best to make sure we combat it.
And when Mr. B and his committee started the strategic planning, that was one of the topics that the community
Yes.
told us they wanted to hear about was bullying.
Yes,
So
Good program.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
it's a good program. So
yes.
again, thank you much. and
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
I know,
We have several. We do. Because if you're not serving in a capacity where the state is saying you are eligible to receive an Ed 1, so we're going to accept those candidates as well. Now, once they get into an Ed leadership role, then they can update their certificate. So we do have several teachers who have their master's degree in Ed leadership who probably would be great candidates for this program. So that came up, and the goal here is, I guess, once they finish this program, we need them to be able to qualify to go into a leadership role. So for example, at the end of this year, this first cohort, and we have principal jobs and assistant principal jobs come up, if they're not qualified and we just actually cycle them through the program, then they would not even qualify for the job. So that's why it's very important, whoever would like to be a part of the Aspiring Leaders program, to actually have the certification. So once the program is completed, they can actually go into that role. So that was kind of like, we did talk about that, but it was more about like, once we finish, we need these people to take on the next leadership role in our schools.
Appreciate it. Next, on the policy and procedures, approve updated Strong Start Plan. Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Washington, second by Mr. Robinson. Questions or comments? Hearing none. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Next, receive information on memorandum of understanding agreement between Assumption Parish School District and Positive Transformation Health Service LLC.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is just information. We have a lot of vendors that come into the schools to provide services. So this is actually a vendor, local vendor from Thibodeau, and they're providing mental health services. So I just wanted to make sure that we try to get as much support as we possibly can for our children. So this is an opportunity for us to receive more mental health support in our schools.
Okay, good. Thank you much. Next, under budget, adopt a resolution to increase the hourly rates of special counsel to those approved by the Attorney General Office. Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Robinson. Come on, guys. Second by Mr. Washington.
But before we vote, I don't know what, I need some clarification.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not quite, I just want to make sure I understand what I'm voting for. Last week, we voted to increase their salary from $175 an hour to $225. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now
Yes.
we're voting to add another 75 for paralegals.
No, sir. No, sir. Last week,
Information, it was information last week, 2 weeks ago. Today, we are voting on it. Remember, that was not for the district attorney office, that was Hammond and Seals, which is the school attorneys. That's
Okay,
for.
I'm in a little bit over my head. The bottom line is, we're gonna pay this firm $300 an hour, only for the hours that they work for us.
yes, sir. And it's for the attorney, it's $225, and for the if there's a paralegal involved, $75 an
So
hour.
that's $300 an hour, basically, only for the hours we use them.
Yes, sir.
That's whether we use one attorney or all 6 of them. It says the maximum we can be billed is $300 an hour.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just as a point of reference, though, $300 an hour at 40 hours a week, at 50 weeks a year, is $600,000. That's more than the President of the United States makes. These guys must be really good, okay?
This is
They
not-
represent the school board. They definitely,
Whenever we need them for services, it's not.
I know, I understand. Still, it's $300 an hour. I mean, like I said, the president only makes $89.75 an hour. But I just want to have some perspective, yeah.
Not use them and then have nothing to pay them.
Yeah, if we don't use them. But I mean, the firm must be good.
Need them, you gotta have them.
Correct, absolutely. And if they save us money, they're worth every penny. However, if we ever lose a case, I think we ought to look into hiring the guys that won. But, I mean, you know, it's all right. I just want to make sure that eventually, whenever we vote, like I said, I'm kind of on the deep end of the pool for me.
that's correct. You're
I'm just
correct.
here. I
But
don't
you can
understand
get a
it.
report if you want of how much money we do spend every year on the lawyer's fees.
Yeah, I'm sure it's worth it. And listen, I'm not sure I know who the district attorney of the state of Louisiana is, but I think it's Jeff Landry. But I mean, if he thinks it's okay and you think it's a fair and equitable, and we getting our money's worth, I'm on board.
Yeah, that's who said it. He said the price.
And Mr. Crawford, the reason why they do that, Mr. Crawford, just so you understand, is so there's an attorney that doesn't gouge the school district. So if they set it at a cap, then they can't come in.
Oh, no.
New Orleans and Baton Rouge attorneys can charge $500, $600, $700 an hour.
No.
So what they're saying is they're trying to limit the exposure of the board. You do not pay me $300 an hour. I can assure you that.
No.
Again, I just want you to understand this is only for outside counsel, and we do very rarely.
Right.
When we do, they're capped at a certain number.
No.
And that's why it's.
I was just concerned what the board could pay. Just make sure, I just want to make sure that's the maximum we could be charged for whether all 6 of you guys work on it or just one. That's the most we can be charged. I'm on board. I mean, my predecessor told me you guys were real good. I mean, I just got to ask. I'm, like I said, in way over my head, but I'm doing the best I can.
That's what you.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Any other questions, comment? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, motion carried. Next, approved contract with Lena Grow. Need a motion? Need a motion? Come on, guys. Got a motion, by Lecter, second by Mr. Robinson. Questions or comment?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a few questions, Ms. Rachel. We kind of spoke about it. Okay, you told me that the parents and the teachers can opt out, right? If they don't want to participate in it.
Do y'all mind me kind of explaining a little bit?
No,
Go ahead,
please
go ahead.
do.
What her question is. So the first time I came and talked to you about this. Sure. Oh, now everybody can hear me. This is intended to improve teacher-child interactions in the classroom. So a child is going to wear a smock, very similar to an art smock that they would use at the painting center, and they're going to wear a little device that weighs 2 ounces to keep track of the conversations that's happening between the adult and the child. They will wear it all day long, once a week, for a 10-week cycle. In between wearing the devices, a report will be generated, and then the coach will help the teacher improve things that she's doing in the classroom so that the child can have a better experience in the classroom. And in turn, the child's learning outcomes will improve. This is intended to be a beautiful thing to increase language in an early childhood classroom. It is a new initiative, and with a new initiative, there's a lot of questions, of how do we know that this will work? Well, what if people are uncomfortable with it? That is absolutely normal. This will be something that people will have the option to participate in. The teachers have already received an email asking if they want to participate. This is not being forced on people. This is not mandatory. This is a strategy that we will have available to support our teachers and to support our families. If there were to be a family that would say, I don't want you using this to improve the interactions between my child and the teacher, we would never force a family to participate in something that they don't feel comfortable with. But I do think that once they have an opportunity to see what it can do, they may be more open to participate the next time. Because we're going to actually own these devices that we can use over and over again. The company does not recommend that you try to coach more than 3 teachers at a time. We have many more than 3 teachers. So it's going to be whoever would want to participate, and I will tell you we do have some interest, and those people will try it. And then after they try it, we'll see, the success rate that they had. And then other people might say, well, wait a minute, I want that too. I want to improve my feedback score with my kids. I want that opportunity to get that coaching for back and forth exchanges. But if a parent would say, that's fine that you want to do it with the class, but I don't want my child participating, that's okay too.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Have you told that to all the teachers? Because I'm hearing a lot of complaints about it, and they're not for it, and I really don't know why, if it's good for the kids, why it's not being explained to, that it's going to benefit the children.
We didn't even go on a launch yet because y'all haven't approved it. So once you were to approve it, then we will launch it and do a big campaign with the teachers to explain what it is. All they've had right now is an opportunity to get the initial information that you had, but I gave it to you first because that's the procedure, that the board receives the information before we share with anyone else. So now that y'all received it, the very next day, I sent it to the teachers and asked who wanted to participate, who wanted more information, and then I did get some of them contacting me. I can tell you I have not had any teacher personally contact me with a complaint, and I've had one parent call concerned about COVID with the vest.
Yeah.
And I explained that the vest will be numbered, and the same vest will go on the same child for the 10-week cycle, and that we will be sanitizing them by washing and drying them in between weeks.
Okay, you did tell me you will be
I
watching
will,
the
yeah.
vest.
It's not a big deal, yeah.
Okay.
So
Right.
I have one question. I have your word and Mr. Bartholomew's word that no teachers will be coerced or forced. No, this is important to the I was a teacher. I hate the word mandatory in education. It has no place in my opinion, but my opinion on that. But if I have your word and Superintendent Bartholomew's word that no teachers are going to be forced or coerced, and that this program is available, if the teachers choose to avail themselves of it, it's fine. If they choose not to avail, as long as it's at the teacher's discretion.
And you have an email copy that I
Yes,
sent saying
ma'am.
that they could
It's
participate.
just like I said.
Yes.
Got sensory overload for me.
I
but
understand.
I'm
Yes.
gonna get it. Okay, as long as I have your words on record, that's fine. I'm good.
Ever since school started back, the teachers are overloaded with new stuff. So I can't vote for anything. I'm sorry, I realize that it's probably cutting edge, but teachers are telling me constantly they're overloaded. They may not tell you that, and it could be because, they're working on you. But I just feel like we gotta slow down on something. That's just from what I'm hearing.
So even those who want to participate, we're not going to give them the opportunity to?
I'm gonna vote no.
So, Rachel, after the 10 weeks, it's 10 weeks, right? And then you get the report, and
Every week they get a report.
so every week.
Yes,
you get a
and the
report.
coach works with them, like, oh, maybe in the art center you could have done this or whatever. Whatever the feedback from the report gives them is what we use to guide further coaching, which coaching is nothing new. We're running teachers through coaching
Right.
cycles right now.
Right.
So the coach prints the report?
Yes, there's not work for the teacher. The teacher does nothing other than teaches.
Well, she
And then
does.
she has the coach come in and help her. But the work, like putting the Lena device into the software, the person that we're hiring for the Ready Start Network will do all of that. Since 2017. The class observation tool, when an observer comes in, marks teacher interaction, but TS goal is the teacher taking an anecdotal note on the student. Yes. And, well, our scores in back and forth exchanges could improve. So people who are interested in improving that, this would be something that they could use. One of the tools that they could use. Yes, it's Ready Start. And it's actually, this company is endorsed by the State Department of Early Child. Like, I didn't know about them until we participated in webinars and they introduced us to them. Iberville and St. Landry. There is no paperwork. This is, all they do is the children have the vest on for the day, and the teacher goes about her business like normal. There's nothing for the teacher to do. Then the vests are taken off, it's uploaded, the report will come to the Ready Start coordinator. She will be trained in how to coach and support the teacher, and then the teacher will be supported to improve her practices.
I see my teachers at my school overworked and just burning out because there's so much coming at them at one time. We're shorthanded, we're losing people, and it's happening across the country. I just can't see putting another burden on our teachers at this point, because somebody's gonna have to keep the best on, number one.
But let me ask you, it's only a burden if the teachers choose to do it.
Correct,
There's no burden whatsoever if they opt out.
correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
And Rachel, from what I'm hearing, though, you just go about your normal business way, but now you're getting feedback.
Because you're choosing to
Yes,
get
and
feedback, you're
that's-
asking for it.
Yes, you want feedback, so it's just only gonna make you better. to
Correct.
me. From what I can see, you're just going through but you're getting feedback now.
Yes,
Before, you wouldn't get feedback, so you wouldn't know if you are doing the job or not, but now you're getting the feedback.
Correct.
And it's gonna make you conscious of having communication with these kids.
Ms.
From what I
Rachel,
could see.
I'm sorry, Ms. If a teacher decides to participate in this program, but yet she comes back and says, you know what, this is too much work for me.
It's
Will
okay. It's
Okay,
fine.
all right, I just want to be clear that
yeah.
in addition to,
This is
they can
supposed to
opt
be
in or
a
out, but
good
if they
thing.
opt in,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they can opt out.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so they can opt out even if they tried for a couple of years and it doesn't work out, they can still get out? Okay,
No, there's no mandatory, nothing.
no, right, yeah, take out the word, the M word, I'm good.
This is one part of our Ready Start Network grant. So we're buying this device to have as a strategy, to have available if we would ever want to use it in the future. I really do think that once a couple of people use it and they see the value in it, it's going to draw some interest. But we would never force someone. We don't want our teachers to feel like they're being, forced to do something that they're not comfortable with. But those who want it, it would be disappointing for them not to have that opportunity for the feedback if they want it.
So it is a voluntary basis.
Yes, and we also need to remember that we have 2 daycares now in our network, and they have never had class observations before, and they haven't had their observation this fall. Once they get their scores, these young ladies may be like, oh gosh, I wish I could have that because I want to learn what to do better. So it's a strategy and availability of something that can just improve what we're currently doing. That's the point of it.
Okay.
It's certainly not ever meant to be where someone feels like it's I got you or extra work or anything like that. And even if it doesn't work where they wear it all day, let's wear it a half a day. Let's see what kind of interactions you have in a half a day. Some kids find the comfort with it, though. I'm sure you've seen those kids that don't want to take the mask off. They've kind of grown accustomed to it. They like the comfort of it.
Okay.
So we're not forcing the kid to put it on either.
No.
No, nobody. Okay.
Yes.
That's what you say.
Yes.
A volunteer program. If you want to do the work or do whatever, then you can opt in. If you don't want to do it, then you opt out.
Correct.
There's no consequences to opting out.
No, if you opt out, it's no different than what it is right now. It's fine.
I guess I'm confused about the grant. Aren't you responsible in some kind of way? I mean, it can't be that you buy these vests and nobody uses them.
But we already have 3 people who do want to use it.
Yeah,
So
but
we will
three?
have some data. We
And we
do.
have 100 vests?
Because
Doesn't seem like bang for your buck.
But that's the 3 people that will use it for the first 10 weeks. What if after those 10 weeks, more people want to use it? What if some of the daycares want to use it? Like, the idea is that this is long-term and that the investment is happening in this year of Ready Start, but it's something that we have long-term that we have available to use.
So you keep talking about daycare. What do we provide to the daycare in our community?
Well, they're part of our network now, so they're using a Tier 1 curriculum. And what I'm about to tell you, we're not necessarily providing, the school board providing, but because they're part of the network, they're getting it. They get direct coaching services from Agenda for Children. Once we have the Ready Start network person in place, she will be going and providing some services for them also. I wrote a grant for them, which was a COVID recovery grant, where they got some playground equipment, sanitation supplies, PPE stuff. I'm sure y'all have heard of the super app, that we write a super app. There's about to be a new piece in the super app called Believe, which is going to have some direct funding available for the daycares, more so than the actual classrooms in our school system. So they're about to have some really good opportunities. But in turn for participating in our network, they have to be observed by class observers, and again, they have to have that Tier 1 curriculum. So their class scores are now going to become part of our network score.
How often do you visit the schools?
The primary schools, someone from my staff is there weekly.
But have you gone visit?
Yes, I'm currently conducting all of the class observations for
In
Head Start and
all the
pre-K.
schools? Because I'm told that you haven't been in our area.
I haven't been, the Pierreport observations haven't come up yet, but I've been conducting class observations in all the schools for the last month and a half. And just for y'all to know, the teachers get a 2-day notification of when the class observation is going to take place, just like the upper grade teachers.
All right, thank you much.
Is
Question,
this
one
contract already in effect? 'Cause
Say that again, Ms. Cooney?
Is this contract already in effect?
No, ma'am.
Okay, well, what's this about effective the second day of November 2021?
Is that because that's when it went before y'all for information?
No, you came to us on the 3rd with information. I'm just reading what's on the contract.
We have a new system for doing this. I don't actually put the information on the contract anymore, so I'm not quite sure.
It would be effective, if it passes tonight, it'd be effective today. So we'll rewrite it and we'll make that adjustment on it.
Just checking.
And I can tell you that on my end, what my responsibility is that once y'all approve it, he signs it, and then I get it to the vendor. So nothing has been sent to a vendor yet.
Miss Rachel, one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do they wear it all day, or they take the vest off, like for lunch or whatever, or this is on the whole while?
The intention is to wear it all day. But again, anything is better than
Right.
nothing,
Right.
you know?
Okay.
And there will be extras, so if something happens to a vest, it's not a big deal. We just
Right.
get another vest. And there's no cost to any parent. Like, if a device breaks, if something happens, it doesn't matter. There's no cost to anyone. That's why we have the availability of them.
Okay, good, thank you. If there's no other questions or comments, those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Roll call, please, Melissa. Yes?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you very much. Next, paragraph C, it passed. It passed, sir, yeah. Next, paragraph C, approved contract with LaSard. Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Washington, second by Ms. Mickens. Questions or comments? Hearing none. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Next, paragraph D, approve the contract with Nieces Notebook LLC. Need a motion? Need a motion?
Just to be clear, Ms. Rachel, why don't you come on up?
Well, look, let's get the motion first, and we're gonna discuss all this.
I'm sorry, Mr.
for
President.
discussion after. Need a motion? Motion by Ms. Mickens, second by Mr. Robson. Questions or comments? Come on, guys, we got to get this stuff moving.
Is this professional development?
This is the person that's going to run the Ready Start Network operations. So when the state gave us the Ready Start grant, everyone got $100,000 for the Ready Start grant. The state came back and gave us another pot of money because they wanted us to have someone to do all of the day-to-day operations of the grant. And we didn't have that budgeted, and they wanted someone to make sure that everything was getting done. So this person will be the person who will be running the LENA project for those who are interested. This person will be running the advisory committee, which I'm going to ask some of y'all to participate on. Holding those meetings, doing all of it. And if you look through the, should be in the contract, the things that she'll be doing. Thibodeau? The owner of the company is a 30-year veteran early childhood teacher. If you look on page 1, under the services, oversee all operations of the Ready Start Network, schedule all meetings and prepare all correspondences for the Ready Start Network, serve as a liaison between the network, community providers, and advisory committee, lead the Lena Grow project, support daycare classrooms with instructional coaching, conduct class observations, prepare and submit LA4 attendance monthly, schedule and process all CCAP fingerprints, monitor criminal background system, and support instructional supervisor in projects.
Okay.
So this is not additional work for our teachers, right?
Oh, no,
Okay.
no.
All right.
This person will be an extra person to go help.
Help them.
Yes.
And items D and E actually was approved. This was, we went out for RFP, so items D and E was actually the contractors that won the bid.
Okay. No other questions or comments? Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next, paragraph E. Approved contract with First Children's Finance. Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Washington, second by Ms. Mickens. Questions or comments? Hearing none. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next, paragraph F.
Wait, I have one question. Mr. Bartholomew.
Sir?
I tried to do my homework and read, but could you tell me, I can't quite understand all the acronyms yet. I'm not up to speed. How much does each of these programs cost us, like LaSalle? Is that any cost to us?
No,
Oh,
sir.
that's a
Oh,
grant.
okay. What about Lena? I don't understand about not the niece's notebook, none of that?
No, sir.
None of that children's finance?
No, sir.
Okay,
sir.
good. I just want to make sure. I'm not sure.
You're fine, you're fine.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
All right, again, paragraph F, approved cooperative endeavor agreement between Assumption Parish Police Jury and Assumption Parish School District and South Central Planning and Development Commission for redistricting. Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion.
I have some discussion. I got a question.
On what?
Who is
What, let's get the motion. Let me get the motion. Go ahead.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Uso, second by Ms. Barra. Questions or comments? Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I have a question. Who is the South Central Planning Development Commission?
They're here right now.
Right here. Mr.
Oh,
Kevin,
okay.
come on up.
I mean, you could be glad to tell me who you are.
Kevin Belanger?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, other board members. My name is Kevin Belanger. We're domiciled out of Houma, Louisiana. We are created by state legislation. There are 8 regional planning commissions throughout Louisiana. We happen to be here, and Assumption is part of our commission. We've been existing since 1972. I'm proud to tell you that our first director was Charlie Malawson from right here in Napoleonville. Really nice guy. We're a regional planning commission. As I've said, we have a variety of tasks that we do. First, we cover St. Charles, St. James, St. John, St. Mary, Lafourche, Assumption, and Terrebonne. We do a lot of different things. We do a lot of software development. We do a lot of highway planning. We do a lot of comprehensive planning. We interact with federal, state agencies. And for the last 40 years, we've been involved with redistricting. And that is why I'm here tonight. We are the census liaison for the region. We annually do what they call census verifications to the United States Census Bureau. And as you know, in 2020, they took a census. We don't know if it was a real good census, but they tried to do their very best. But anyway, it indicated that Assumption Parish lost about 10.8% people in the parish. So that means there was a shifting of population. And from that, there is what they call a deviation check. If you deviate from one district to another greater than the overall deviation of 10%, you are required to redistrict. We also do that check on behalf of all the governments, the parishes. And in doing so on behalf of Assumption Parish Jury, we concluded that you did need to redistrict. Your overall deviation was somewhere around 18% from the highest to the lowest. And I'll just read off, I should have provided this to you, and I apologize, but the most important aspect of tonight of why you need to do this, and I apologize, I got to put my glasses on. The print's
I need
really
'em too.
small. But I'll just run through the districts real quick, and it may give you each a little ideas of what you have to be forced to deal with. So in District 1, you lost 9.1%. In District 2, you gained 7.6%. In District 3, you gained 6.9%, and we're talking about overall population.
Yeah, right.
District 4 lost 9.8%. District 5 gained 5.4, 6.7% gain. District 7 lost 10.4%. District 8, 8.2 gain, and District 9 lost 5.5%. So the overall percentage of deviation, what you do is you take the greatest amount of increase and the lowest amount of decrease, and that is 18.6%. So we provided to you all tonight a contract for us to be able to do this on your behalf. We were fortunate enough to be chosen to do this for you all for the last 30 years, 40 years actually. And last 10 years ago, we did this contract for the school board for $25,000, and we also did it for the Assumption Parish jury for $25,000. We propose this year that we get together, and remember 10 years ago this was done. So 10 years ago it cost the public of Assumption $50,000 to do this, and we're offering to do this for $25,000 again collectively. So you would be responsible for about $12,500. So we have a proposal. It details the scope of services that we would have to go through. In all of the years that we have done it for the past 40 years, we've had one plan that was sent back to us. It happened to be in another parish. We advised what to do, but they chose to do something different. We're only advisors. We only are going to suggest to you what you should consider, but ultimately the decision is with you all, obviously. The unfortunate thing this 10 years, this decade, you are required to redistrict first. 10 years ago, the council was forced to redistrict, and then you could look at what they did and then decide if you wanted to choose to keep it or not. You chose to keep it. And we went through the process of evaluating what changes could be made, but at the end of the day, y'all decided to keep and mirror the exact plan that the parish had. The fortunate thing of working with the parish government is that they have total control over dividing voting precincts. So we have to shift and push and consolidate precincts in Assumption. And to do that, they are the ones that either allow it or disallow it. So if they're involved in the process, which we're suggesting that they be, that they would be more at ease about approving those changes, if so needed. We may not need to, but we believe that there probably will be some voting precinct splits, and then later on we will consolidate some of the voting precincts. That's a process that you go
So
through.
Kevin, correct me if you may. So last time, I think the police jury did sign off first, and you submitted like three proposals or something like that?
That is correct.
And they chose it, I think the school board followed their lead on it. This time around, I think you're asking us that we'll have to take the lead on it first, and then we'll submit it. If we sign off tonight, then the police juror, you'll meet with them.
The next meeting, we're going to be on their agenda.
Okay.
The unfortunate thing is typically censuses come out in April.
Right.
It only came out in October because of COVID and all the other issues that were facing the country. But we're moving very quickly. Many of the other parishes are already receiving alternative plans. Remember, we got the census in August.
Yeah.
Then what happened at the end of August, we got really hit with a hurricane pretty badly, and it took us for a whirl. But nonetheless, we're confident that we can complete this plan for you all very quickly. I have with me tonight Mr. Josh Manning. He is our senior planner, and he is our demographer. He actually runs the software, the computer software that generates a lot of these alternatives. We're going to come back to you with 3 alternatives, and that process is going to be very fluid. We're going to meet with every one of you privately to hear some of your likes, your dislikes, to talk about what could happen, what can't happen, and then we'll create this committee, and through that committee, we'll do the same with the jury. And we hope that at the end of the day, the collaboration will be very fruitful so that we'll come up with one plan again, and that it's been cost effective to be able to do it collectively, because we don't want to create more voter apathy. We want to try to encourage people to get out and vote. And having one plan, I think, for the parish will be more beneficial rather than having one for the jury and one for the school board.
So once that plan is completed between your office and what you will submit to the school board and the police jury, I'm sure that'll have to go to the Secretary of State office for approval, correct?
Well, if you read the process, it's real simple. We will work through a committee made up of appointments of 4 members from the school board and 4 members from the council. Jury, I apologize. And from that, we will coordinate and choose one plan to submit to the full body. Now, every meeting that we hold is open to the public.
Right.
And every school board member can attend each one of those meetings, and so can every jury. And I'm very positive that nothing is going to be done in a vacuum where each and every one of you don't know, if you're not on that committee, what's going on. And we think that, look, we've always enjoyed working in Assumption. It's a very easy process in Assumption. It's not very political as some larger parishes could be. But I think that this is going to be very fluid. Now, the deadline for you to have this accomplished is March 1st of 2022. So that means that we have to, as you alluded to, submit to the Secretary of State's office. And because when you submit to the Secretary of State's office, they get 60 days in which to review it. And if for some chance they make some changes to the congressional districts or state legislative districts that in turn affect some of the boundaries that we use, we have to change our boundaries. So that means we would have to come back through a committee process and then go back through a public hearing process that you all will hold and also the council will hold.
So we having a special election in this coming March. And how would that be impacted by this?
We're going to be, if we're chosen, we will be finished by March 1st, giving the registrar enough time to be able to make whatever changes need be. And by the way, we work very closely with the registrar.
Yeah, I know.
Very closely.
Okay, one question too. Who decides, this is a state mandate that we have to, if our deviation is 10%, we have to do this
That is
according to
correct.
the state of Louisiana?
It's not just a state mandate, it's a congressional and
So
federal.
it's feds?
Federal
It's the
and
federal.
state. It's
Okay.
federal
No,
and
I
state.
just want to be, I actually took the census, I don't understand it, but.
Right.
Okay, so, from the feds to the state to us to basically redistrict.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm not, and just one question, you said you'd been doing this for 30 years for us?
Our commission has.
Yeah,
I
just-
know I look a lot older with bald head, but
Okay, and-
I've only been here for 24.
Just out of curiosity, who picks you guys?
Who picked us
Yeah,
for?
who selected the South Central, whatever?
Well,
Mr.
my bosses are all the parish presidents and the mayors. They appointed me, and I run the commission.
No, I understand, but, I mean.
Who appointed us to do this? That's why we're here tonight, for you to select us. If you
So in
want to
other
choose
words,
someone
it's
else,
up to
you're
the
more than
school
welcome to
board
do so.
to appoint you?
That is correct.
Oh, okay. Do you have any competition?
There are people that do this,
Oh, okay.
but they likely won't do it at 12,500 for you.
No, I was just wondering, I mean,
We're not a private company. We're a government entity.
Government regulated.
We're owned by this government of
Yeah.
Lafourche, I mean, of Assumption, Lafourche, and all the
Right,
others.
I just, free enterprise system, just.
I understand.
Just to check, okay.
All right, any other questions for Kevin? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, motion carried. Appreciate it, Kevin.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Next, receive information on contract with Crisis Prevention Institute Incorporated.
This is just for our information purposes, just getting our teachers trained on crisis prevention as it relates to our special education department. So just want to make sure that we continue to keep our training, our teachers abreast of what's going on and how to do restraints and things like that properly.
Good. Next, paragraph H, receive October 2021 sale and use tax report. So Anya's not here, so we got a substitute.
Yes, sir. I was voluntold that I had to do this. So the collection was total collection was $1,083,813.84, which is an increase of $52,060.39, which is a 5% change. Our district, our school board received out of that $1 million, $538,818.99, which is an increase of $25,839.70, which is a 5% increase. And that's what I was told to report.
That's good. That'll get you through. Under facilities and ground, authorize the superintendent to advertise for bids for a shingle roofing project. Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Myers, second by Mr. Roberts. Questions or comment?
So, Mr. President, this is obviously from hurricane damage, so it's time to start repairing our buildings. So this is the reason why I'm requesting to go out for bids.
Okay, good. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Next, executive session, paragraph A, request enter into executive session pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 42:17A2 to discuss the status and strategy concerning litigation entitled Braxton Evans LeBlanc versus Assumption Parish School Board, 23rd Judicial District Code, Division A, docket number 38221. Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Washington, second by Mr. Robertson. Next, paragraph B, request to enter into executive session pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 42:17A2 to discuss the strategy and status and strategy concerning litigation entitled in relation to Kirk Delac, 23rd Judicial District Court, Division E, docket number 38214. Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Uso, second by Ms. Dot. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, guys, let's move into executive session.